breaking news.
And we are staying on top of breaking news here at ABC 15. A historic ruling just handed down from the Arizona Supreme Court on abortion access in our state. We just got our hands on that official opinion. The justice's ruling to reinstate a near total ban on abortions in a law that was created back in 1864 before Arizona was a state. The law does allow for exceptions, but only if a woman's life is in danger. That is the only exception in this law. We're taking a live look right now from the state capitol, where we are expecting Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs to take the podium any moment with reaction to this. Of course, before this, she came out forcefully against that. We know that back in 2022, the legislature and former Governor Doug Ducey had passed a different law governing abortion access in our state. So that one was a ban after 15 weeks, and that was the one in which we were currently operating. But back in December of last year, this case went before the Arizona Supreme Court to try to decide which of these two laws would go into effect. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned back in June of 2022, we experienced quite a legal limbo in this state, with providers and lawmakers unsure of which law would then be the law of the land once Roe v. Wade was overturned, which returned the power to each state to decide what was going to happen. So if you remember, at a time we saw many abortion clinics across Arizona close down, stop providing that service for fear of prosecution. Since then, in the almost 2 years it's been since Roe v. Wade was overturned, we have experienced quite a legal back and forth. This case did go before the Arizona Court of Appeals, which decided to keep that 15-week ban in place. But again, that opinion we're just getting from the Arizona Supreme Court is that the territorial air law will take effect, which is a near total ban on abortions in our state, except for cases where the life of the woman is in jeopardy. Now, we've also seen other rulings. For instance, Governor Katie Hobbs last year issuing that executive order, I should say, to Attorney General Chris Mays, giving her the power to not prosecute people who were found in violation of these laws. So again, the legal back and forth continues. But if you're just joining us, you are taking a live look now at the podium, where we are expecting Governor Katie Hobbs to appear at any moment and speak about this. Quite a back and forth, though, as we mentioned. And just in talking about the gravity of this situation and the historic nature of this, we have seen these battles play out in state after state. Speaking of, we also know there's a legislative battle taking place. We know that there is a group right now that is fighting to try to get a referendum on the ballot in November. What they're fighting for is a ban after 24 weeks, after the point of fetal viability. They're fighting for this right now. They say they have more than 500,000 signatures. They just need about 384,000 by the beginning of July. But of course, we know that this could possibly energize people on both sides if, in fact, that referendum makes it to the November ballot right now. So we are getting our hands on more of that report. And bear with us right now, because our team is going through this and getting reaction as we speak. So we're just getting a statement from Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, who was not in favor of this territorial ban. They're saying her office says, quote, "The decision made by the Arizona Supreme Court today is unconscionable and an affront to freedom. Make no mistake, by effectively striking down a law passed this century and replacing it with one from 160 years ago, the court has risked the health and lives of Arizonans. The Arizona Court of Appeals decision, which the Supreme Court has struck down today, was well-reasoned and aligned with how courts harmonize different legislation. Today's decision to reimpose a law from a time when Arizona wasn't a state, the Civil War was raging, and women couldn't even vote, will go down in history as a stain on our state. This is far from the end of the debate on reproductive freedom, and I look forward to the people of Arizona having their say in this matter. And let me be completely clear, as long as I am Attorney General, no woman or doctor will be prosecuted under this draconian law in the state. Again, that is a statement we are just getting from Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, a Democrat who has come out vehemently against this. And you just heard that there, saying that no woman will face any prosecution. So that is setting up yet another legal battle in the state, despite what the Arizona Supreme Court has just handed down in this opinion. Again, you are looking a live look right now from the Capitol right now, where Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is expected to take the podium right now. Stay with ABC 15 this morning on air and online as we continue to track the developments in this historic ruling all day long. A reminder, you can also download that free ABC 15 mobile app.
Breaking news.
I'm ABC 15's Zig Saletti, and we are staying on top of breaking news coming from the state capitol right now, where the Arizona House just voted to repeal that near total ban on abortions from 1864. It's that territorial era law that the Arizona Supreme Court ruled to reinstate just 2 weeks ago. Now, this was a narrow margin here. It was a 32-28 vote in the Arizona House. And as we mentioned, it comes just 2 weeks after the state Supreme Court issued that historic ruling to reinstate that restriction, only allowing exceptions in cases when the life of the mother was in danger. Now, this is just the first step of several that needs to take place in the legislative process. So from here, now that it's passed in the Arizona House, it's going to have to go to the Senate, where it would then have to be signed by Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, who's already said that she would support it. Now, in a statement that just came in, Governor Katie Hobbs says that she is, quote, thankful to House Democrats for leading this effort and calls on the Senate to approve this measure quickly. We will continue to track this story. I was just talking to ABC 15 data analyst Garrett Archer behind the scenes, who has a lot of sources at the Capitol and his finger on the pulse of this. Right now, we were trying to work out to see when exactly the Senate could take up this vote. It doesn't look like that's going to happen today, but of course, there's always the option to call an emergency session. So we will be staying on top of that. This is the fourth attempt to try to repeal this. Again, it did succeed in the House. Narrow margin here, 32-28 vote, but this is just the first step. Now, what would happen after this, if this goes through in the Senate and then approved by Governor Katie Hobbs, we would revert back to that 15-week ban on abortions that was signed by Governor Doug Ducey back in 2022. Obviously, this is a developing situation. We will continue to stay on top of this and have crews at the Capitol for you. Make sure you keep it tuned to ABC 15 News throughout the afternoon, on air and online, and also our mobile app. I'm Nick Saletti, and we are staying on top of breaking news right now. A truly historic day at the Arizona Capitol, where the Senate has just voted to repeal that near total ban on abortions from 1864. The state Supreme Court had ruled to reinstate last month. So this paves the way for an official repeal. Last week, I was with you as the Arizona House voted to repeal the law as well. So now that both chambers of the legislature have approved this repeal, the final step is having Governor Katie Hobbs sign off. Now, the governor has said numerous times that she will sign this, paving the way for that 15-week ban to go back into effect 90 days after the legislative session ends. Of course, there are a few legal hurdles to clear before that can happen. But of course, our teams are also at the Capitol right now, staying on top of every angle of this story. So make sure to keep it tuned to ABC 15 on air and online throughout the day, as well as our ABC 15 mobile app. I'm Nick Saletti.